Hey everyone, it's Ryan here. So this first video is a reactions video to NXT WarGames 2020, which happened, started at midnight and finished at just after 3 o'clock, about 3:15 in the morning. It's currently 7:15 in the morning as I'm recording this. The reason being is I've got another video to make gaming related. If you've been watching my videos recently, you'll know what it's about. Yes, there were 5 matches tonight. First match of the night was the women's War Games match. Team Shotzi, which was Shotzi Blackheart, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai versus Team Candice, which was Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Toni Storm. The big reveal that Shotzi Blackheart had was just another tank she's made. Basically, she drives it down the ring like she's the last one to come in. Dakota Kai has started for the heel team, so she's already in the ring. She comes down with it. It's got like a little pipe on the front with like a missile on it. Eventually, everyone else jumps on the side of it, like basically just to get the pictures for it. Like, you know, they sort of stand there and they pose or whatever. Sit there for a good 15 seconds or so, and then she fires a missile at the cage. And then she gets off the tank, and then that's pretty much it. So she starts in. Oh no, she doesn't even start. She goes to start, but then Ember Moon decides to start instead. It goes on for about 5 minutes, I think. Like the first one's like 5 minutes, and then the good guys have the advantage. So Shotzi comes out next, and then I believe Raquel Gonzalez comes out. Then Rhea Ripley, then Toni Storm, and then Io Shirai, and then Candice LeRae. When Io Shirai comes in, with each person that comes in, they bring weapons with them. So there's like kendo sticks, there's table. Well, there's not tables in this one. There's kendo sticks, there's chairs. I'm sure there's like some other things as well. Io Shirai grabs like a big ladder. She puts it through the ring, like into the ring through the door. But then Gonzalez knocks her off the stairs onto the barricade, and then closes the door on her. So then Shirai recovers and then grabs a smaller ladder, does the same thing, like she gets knocked on the barricade again. Gonzalez closes the door. Multiple times during the time is Shirai's just trying to get in the ring and it's not working. At one point Toni Storm gets a belt and she wraps it around the like the door and the cage, so that way she can't really get through. Eventually, when Candice LeRae does come out, she attacks Io Shirai on the outside. Well, she goes to, but then I think, what's her name? Indy. I don't think it's Indy Blackheart, because I'm thinking Shotzi Blackheart. Indy Hartwell, I think her name is. Basically, the one that was revealed as the original Ghostface, that's been helping the Garganos out. Basically, she attacks Shirai from behind. She's got like a neck brace on, and then she sort of disappears. Candice LeRae gets in. They use the chain to lock the door. At one point, which kind of confused me, was there's a bit where they hit their finishes on Shotzi, I think, and then Candice goes to the pin, but the referee doesn't count it because Shirai's not in the ring. I thought it would be once all of them have like entered. Well, I guess like because technically she didn't enter the ring, but I thought it would be once they've all been released from the pods and are actually in the match, then that's when pinfalls happen. As that's going on, they all get up and Io Shirai's suddenly on top of the cage and she's holding a garbage bin, trash can, whatever. The metal bins. And she decides for some reason to put it on her head so she can't see and then literally cross-body everyone. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of finishing each other. The finish is eventually, there's a big ladder stacked across 2 chairs across both rings. So that's the thing with like War Games, is they have the 2 rings next to each other. Gonzalez eventually powerbombs Shirai through it and pins Shirai for the win. I might have said that the other way around. Gonzalez powerbombs Shirai through the ladder. Gonzalez then pins Shirai for the win. I originally thought Toni Storm would have pinned Shirai to then set up Toni Storm versus Io Shirai. Where they go from this, I don't know. Whether Dakota Kai tries to get a shot over Gonzalez, and then maybe that has some friction between them. But I did predict Team Candice to win. It was a really fun match. I think it went for like 45 minutes. The next 3 matches were kind of like an hour between them. So the first match was Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher, which it was just a regular singles match. I believe the story to this one is Thatcher's obviously been doing his lessons, and Ciampa sort of wanted to see what it was about. Thatcher wasn't happy with that he was kind of out wrestled, I think. So they got this match going on. It's very brutal, like a lot of like wrestling based hold for the first few minutes. There's just brutal shots afterwards. At one point, I think Ciampa knees Thatcher in the side of the head, and basically his ear starts to bleed. Like, I don't know if it's like sort of internal bleeding, starts leaking out. Because there's a bit later on where he's got him in a headlock, and you literally see like first I saw it on Ciampa's arm, but there's just a bit of blood, so I thought maybe he'd cut his arm on something. And then next thing you know, like 30 seconds later, it's all over the upper arm of Ciampa where he's got the headlock on. It's bleeding down the side of the ear towards Thatcher's mouth. And then you basically just realise, oh no, he's actually bleeding from the ear, and quite a bit. Luckily, I think it dried up after like 5 minutes or so. So it wasn't just a constant thing. Eventually, Ciampa manages to hit the DDT on the apron and get the win that way. There's a stare down afterwards, so I think this sort of hints at a rematch. I went for Ciampa to win because I thought if Ciampa wins this, Thatcher will then challenge him to a Lion's Den match to see, like, for a true test of wrestling skill or something like that. But yeah, like I said, it was a pretty solid match. The ear bleeding was a bit worrying at first. Next match was the strap match between Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes. I think, in my opinion, is probably the weakest match of the night. The whole thing is Grimes starts off by saying, I brought my own strap, I want to use this one. And they're like, well, we've got one here, so why wouldn't you use it? Because, no, I want this one, this is my strap. And basically, as they go to, like, the ref goes to Lumis, goes, Lumis, are you okay with this? He literally says nothing, he goes, I think he's fine with it. And as he's about to strap his arm into it, Grimes starts to attack him. Lumis gets the upper hand, eventually puts the strap back on, and the majority of it is Cameron Grimes trying to escape. There's a moment where he throws Dexter Lumis over the apron and then yanks him back over, like, towards ringside. They both get in the ring. Eventually, Lumis gets the sleeper hold on Grimes. Grimes tries to get out the strap, but then he eventually gets close to passing out, so he taps out. So Dexter Lumis wins. If they've got another stipulation coming up next, I don't know. Where does Dexter Lumis go? Where does Cameron Grimes go? Is it just going to carry on for another month? I guess we'll see. But yeah, it was an interesting match, but not... Like, it wasn't massively interesting. Like, I like the idea of the strap match, but I just think it could have been better. Like I said, I think this was sort of like the cool-down match, so like, it's not as big because the next 2 matches need to be important. It was sort of like, in terms of quality, it was literally like first match, second match, third match, fourth match, fifth match, essentially. So the next one was the triple threat title match for the North American title. Leon Ruff defending against Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano. Most of the time, Priest is just shoving Ruff out of the way, saying, stay out of the way, I've got this. He starts to try and attack Priest, and Damian Priest is having none of it from Leon Ruff. Eventually, at one point, Gargano and Ruff actually team together to take out Damian Priest, and then Gargano immediately turns on Ruff. The ending comes when 3 ghost faces appear to attack Priest, but he fends them off. Then another 3 show up, and he fends them off. In that time, Leon Ruff almost sneaks a pin on Gargano. And then Priest is going to go for a move, and then this 7th ghost face comes up and hits him with a lead pipe. Gargano then takes advantage of that to, I believe, hit his finisher on Leon Ruff, the float over DDT thing from the outside. I think it's like a slingshot DDT to pin Ruff, so that he is now a 3-time North American champion. I believe he's the first 3-time anything, so you know, good for Gargano, I guess. And then it's revealed the ghost face with the lead pipe was Austin Theory, and he uses the quote, "It was me, Austin, it was me all along," which obviously is sort of one of the biggest reveals that WWE ever did in their career with a higher power, where Undertaker and the Ministry were attacking Vince McMahon and his family. Austin eventually saves Stephanie from the dark marriage, whatever it was, and then they reveal who the higher power is, like this thing where Mr. McMahon's like, I want you to reveal who the higher power is. He takes it off, turns out it's Mr. McMahon himself. which then leads to Stephanie and Shane turning on him because obviously he's just tortured his own family for the sake of getting one up on Austin. So yeah, interesting to see Austin Theory back here. I guess whatever happened to him has been cleared. Now he's back on NXT. I think his main roster run wasn't that great. I think they probably just need more time in NXT before they consider bringing him up. Because he was originally part of Seth's stable, that didn't last too long. But yeah, it's interesting to see him back and interesting to see what they do next. And then finally, the main event, the men's WarGames match. You've got the Undisputed Era versus Team Pat, which is Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch. The heels have the advantage this one. Starts off with Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne. And then I believe, I think Danny Burch goes out first, and then Oney Lorcan. So it goes Danny Burch, and I think Bobby Fish then comes out. Then I think Oney Lorcan comes out. Then I believe Roderick Strong comes out. Then Pat McAfee, and then Adam Cole. The biggest spots of the night, like again, it was the same thing. Pat, like basically each person introducing weapons, kendo sticks, chairs. Pat McAfee introduces tables, all with Undisputed Era logos on them and with the names on them. So you got Fish, Strong, O'Reilly, Cole. All the tables do get used, but not in the way they intended. I think only a couple do. I think Bobby Fish's one gets used intentionally. I think O'Reilly's one gets used intentionally. Strong, I think Pat McAfee ends up getting pushed through Cole's one by Cole. O'Reilly does get put through his. Fish is then used towards the end of the match, and then I can't remember what happens with Strong's one. But yeah, the biggest moments of the night were Pat McAfee getting on the top rope and does a senton onto everyone and literally just hits hard on the thing. How he's still fine from that, I don't know, but credit to him for getting up there and doing that. It comes when they all the Undisputed Era, one by one, hit their finishing combo on each of the superstars. So it's the jumping knee, it's a jumping head kick. I think it's O'Reilly does a forearm or something. Someone does a forearm, someone does a knee, someone does a head kick, and then Cole does a super kick, I believe. And then yeah, so that's Lorcan and Burch taken out. I believe Roderick Strong then charges Pete Dunne through a table. They all surround Pat McAfee, do the finisher combo. At one point as well, Cole manages to hit Panama Sunrise on Pat McAfee, and Pat actually kicks out, and that was probably the biggest shock we had of the night. Eventually, Adam Cole does pick up the win over Pat McAfee, so Undisputed Era do win, which I did have Team Pat to win this one because I thought, considering they've only just recently become a thing, you would think they would probably win, but I guess not. So where they go from here, I don't know. But Undisputed Era win. Obviously, there was some rumours of them possibly breaking up, but I don't see that just yet. Maybe another couple of months or so. But yeah, like I said, it was a very, very good show. Both the WarGames matches were really good. I think both about 45 to 50 minutes, but that's kind of how it happens with the layout of the matches. Triple threat match was good. The Ciampa and Thatcher match was interesting, a lot of hard hitting. Like I said, the Loomis and Grimes one was alright, but I still believe was probably the weakest match of the night. But yeah, that's my review for WWE NXT Takeover WarGames 2020. I believe it's the 4th one they've done now. But yeah, like I said, it was a very solid show. I definitely recommend you watch it. And I shall hopefully see you in the next one.